Welcome everyone to Datu's Corner Live. I'm your host, Datu Tim. Today's topic, should Black Belt Certification expire? Now, before we start talking about this today, I want everyone to understand, agree on a whole bunch of things. We're probably going to disagree on others. So long as we can agree to disagree, it's all good, my brothers and sisters out there. So, but first, before we get in, there's a couple different platforms we're using. I'm doing this through Facebook, but I'm also going to be doing this. This is also doing YouTube Live. So by all means, if you get a chance, go over there, like it. It'd be good if you can subscribe there. That way, if you can't make the shows, you can always make some of the up-and-coming ones. Now, I do have a few coming up, and I want to talk about them right now before we get into today's topic. And, everyone, please give us a shout-out if you're here. Got a few people coming from us. James from Jacksonville. How you doing, brother? I hope everything's going on there. Facebook user. Who is that? Who is that? Is it my brother from Greece or other places? Unknown, please give us a shout out. Hey, Kevin, how you doing? Good deal to seeing you, buddy. All right. What I'm going to do is share. I'm going to talk about this month. So I've got, on Mondays we do Datu's Corner. On Fridays we do FMA Professionals. So hello, Larry from Colorado. Wait for it. Here we go. And Joe coming in all the way from Austria. That's why I'm tuning in from YouTube instead of Facebook. Gotcha. Okay. And then hello, Ty from Virginia. Like everyone, give us a shout out. But I want to just talk real quick about the upcoming shows and what's going on. Hey, Mike. And there's Greg. Now, Fridays is business, FMA Professionals, Filipino Martial Arts, business recommendations from a Filipino martial arts school owner. But today we're talking about, should black belts expire? Next week, it'll be at a special time. This will be at 1 o'clock. I have a previous appointment. So, Americanized Arnis. Is it better than the original Filipino version? I'm looking forward to this one because I've already got people from the Philippines challenging me to fights, which is pretty good because you would think they were worrying more about the lockdown. But hey, you know what? Anyone's got my age bracket out there, I'd more than happy to throw down to show what people have got. And Friday, if you join me on the FMA Professionals on Friday, which is talking about how to host a tournament, that will be my 56th birthday. So you still have 4 days to get me a gift. Just joking, unless I'm not. And then the week after that, back at its normal time on the 17th, will be Training in the Philippines, Training Necessity, or a Waste of Time and Money. Now, the 25th, I will not, or whatever the Monday is, Memorial Day, we will not be doing a show. So this will be the last Datu's Corner for the month. The May 17th one will be the last one for the month of May. But then we'll be coming back up. And of course, I might do some impromptu stuff because I see things in the public, I get upset and I say stuff. But you guys know that. So let's get into this. So let me talk about this. What do I mean? Well, how in God's name can a black belt expire? Well, first of all, so everyone knows what I'm talking about, this is how it was brought up. So I was a student of the late Grandmaster Remy Amador Presas, and what he had going on is on many, not all, on many of the black belt certificates, there were expiration dates. Now, I never had any on my black belt certificates, but a bunch of my students did have them. It wasn't automatic, but it became more of a thing. Now that, and I know how Professor probably happened. There's a bunch of these people that came out and did the learn and burn. They came in, they were belt collectors, they got their certification, and then they took off, and never came back. But let's talk about this. Then there's the other, that's all probably why Professor did it. Now, let's put another situation out there. You have a kid, teenager, gets his adult black belt in high school, goes away to college, doesn't train. Maybe it's a 4-year program. Maybe it's an 8-year program. Who knows what happens. Decade or two later, comes back to martial arts. What is that person? Now, I don't believe that the rank should be stripped. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, we'll do it in my club. I've had people disappear, go to college, go in the service, come back and start training with me. All right. Before we can worry about teaching them to prepare them for their next black belt certification, for their next degree, I need to brush them up on all the stuff they haven't done in years. Now, I'm not saying that, people weren't training on their own, but there's a difference between training on your own and being groomed by an instructor. So in those cases, I can understand. Now, we do it in the World Modernist Alliance. But I rephrased the term. I don't like the word expiration because, prior to today's talk, oh my God, it generated a lot of good conversation on Facebook. So everyone's weighing in on what they said. I'm like, dude, this is great. I'll have a lot of people, hopefully, if the time zones line up, that can contribute to this conversation, and we have some good feedback and dialogue. I don't expect people to think the way I do on things. I love getting into debates as long as everyone can be friends afterwards. I mean, it doesn't have to be a knockdown, drag-out brawl. We're not talking about correcting things. We're talking about matters of opinions. I never had debate club in school, but I would have loved that. And I think I would do fairly well with that. But, at the end of the day, I think debate makes our brain work a little differently. I also like looking at things from the other side, so we'll see something in the news, and we know how the news spins things. So right now, what I do is I hear from people, I listen to the news, I hear from someone else giving me their opinion, and then what I do is I talk to some other people and fact check things, because I want to get all the details so I can make an educated decision. You see something happen in the world, and it's a snapshot. It's like 20 seconds of footage. Next thing you know, everyone's going up and doing this, that, and the other thing, and then the rest of the footage comes out, and then those initial opinions need to be modified or completely changed because what we thought was something wasn't. So that's why when we go in to talk about this, I want everyone to come in open-minded. So let's start off this. Does anyone, okay, obviously in the modern Arnis world, this is what Professor Presas, the standard he set, that black belts could have an expiration date. Now, and when I do renewal, that's basically the deadline, the guideline of when they should be ready to test for their next belt. So when I do an ISA, first degree black belt, whether it's Lakan or Dayang, Lakan is the male indication, Dayang is the female indication. ISA, then that's 1, Delawa 2, Tatlo 3, so on and so forth. So what I basically say is, when they get the first degree, there's at least a 2 to 3 year a renewal date. That's what it says, renewal. And that's really to prep them for their next test. But how many modern Arnis people out there that know what I'm talking about? Let's have a few people shout out. I want to hear that, who came up this way, that they may not have had a belt with a expiration date, because I never did, but my students did, and a lot of the people around me. Am I the only one out there? Or I think there's got to be 1 or 2 modern Arnis brothers or sisters joining us today, right? And of course, there's a little delay. So, there we go. Great. I don't think people should get butthurt over black. Okay. So I'm not saying this. I'm just reading this. But hurt over black belts. And I'm dyslexic, so hopefully you guys can read better than I can speak here. View it as some way of I have recertification on a regular basis in loads of sense. I can speak from a military perspective, checking minimum standards and maintaining a great way to mitigate skill fade. No different than than a gun camp. Okay, there we go. So, Nathan Porter, hello. And I didn't have an expiration date on my belt. But I had a Kung Fu set. Okay. Mike had that. Yeah, DAV is different. That's we're talking Remy Presas, Arnis, while Remy was alive. And not to say anything bad. I'm just saying, just in general, it's different. Apples to apples. I tested for black belt, then tested for first degree. Yep. In modern, we went Lacan or Dayang, which is plain black, not probationary, and then you went for first degree. So we're actually in modern Arnis, Remy Presas, modern Arnis here in the States. When you're a first degree black belt, you're a second level black belt. There's a major misconception out there, and I've actually did this on if you go to the YouTube channel, you'll see the belts, but we'll probably do this as a live discussion so people can chime in to verify what I'm talking about, because before I was just making a comment, and let me see here, but hold on one second. There we go. Mine with Remy specifically had an expiration date left blank, but others at times had Yep, exactly. So some people were given expiration dates and others weren't. And that was also based on the trust level the professor had in the person. None of my certificates have an expiration date on them. Now, but in modern, okay, so like getting back to what Mike was talking about, in modern you go black before you go first degree, and that's not a junior belt. That is not a probationary belt. Any belt could have been probationary, and that's a whole other topic. Matter of fact, so I got my black belt in '88. At the Michigan summer camp. Should have been 87. Long story, no big deal. At the end of the day, when professor was calling people up, they would say, probationary black belt, you wear the third degree brown. Probationary black belt. And they just kept saying that. And then Tim Hartman, Lacan, black belt. I walked up after the camp. It's the last thing that happens in camp before we send people home. And I went over there and said, hey, so what belt do I wear? He goes, you wear the black belt. Okay, done. Any belt can be probationary. My third or fourth degree was probationary. I got 2 certificates. A professor came to Buffalo, did a seminar. He wanted to promote me right then and there. And I'm like, I want to test. Because Professor and I had a very close relationship. And because of how close we were, I wanted to demonstrate my ability on the floor. I remember doing a pretest in Texas once, and Mark Lynn came up to one of my guys and goes, "Oh, you did a really good job." And I was helping him prep. I was helping him do his first degree black belt test. And then the comment afterwards, "Holy cow! I didn't think Tim was that good. We thought he was a political black belt." This is why I always, whenever possible, I took these tests, because people made these assumptions because of how close I was with Remy. Of course, if they would have just watched me help Remy on the floor, they would have seen skill set, and that's another story. But I went down a rabbit hole. So in modern Arnis, i.e. in Remy Presas modern Arnis, expiration dates were on diplomas. Sometimes they were filled out, sometimes they weren't. Sometimes they were handwritten, so I have a couple diplomas that my students have. There was no spot for an expiration date, but at the last Buffalo camp, a lot of people had those written in there. So what does that expiration date mean? Well, we go back to what I was saying before. It's about maintaining skill set, but do I think that a belt should be taken away from anyone? If it was probationary, that's different than an expiration date. To me, the accomplishment can never be taken away. When you're the champ, when you're the world champ, you're the world champ. You might have retired. Muhammad Ali will always be the champ. Mike Tyson will always be the champ. Obviously, they're not, because, Muhammad Ali is no longer with us, and Mike is no longer doing boxing certified. So, but you can't take those accomplishments away. Someone who serves as the president of the United States is always Mr. President, but they're really not a president anymore. But they always, they always have that status. To me, I understand how some places might be taking this as a money grab. Now, when Professor did this, there was no money for recertification. There's, and I don't do the same thing, or I do the same thing. I don't do payment for any recertification. And I agree with you, Mike. You can never take away knowledge, but how much do you retain? The question here is, which is very good. This is a very good one. And thank you, Mike, because you helped out perfectly. You can never take away knowledge, but you can forget shit. We do that all the time. So I do Kun Tao as one of the arts I train. And after becoming a black belt in Kun Tao, I'm a second degree black belt in Kun Tao. And after I started my progression, I wanted to go back with my instructor and say, all right, now that I'm a black belt, I want to go back and do all the forms from the ground up, because I was coming up as a color belt. So when I showed up to class, even though I had all my modern Arnis rank, I showed up wearing a white belt. Okay, because I was learning a new system. So I was going up to Toronto, doing private lessons monthly, and Q Marc de Leon taught me my Kun Tao. But I wanted to go back and check things as a black belt to see what I missed. And I see what I may have forgotten or learned incorrectly. Actually, I think my timing gets better, Mike. I think the rest of my attributes get worse, but I think timing can always keep getting better. I mean, I watched Professor; his timing always kept improving, but we knew that Professor's health wasn't always the best. He had the gout. So if it flared up, sometimes things didn't work. Oh, here we go. Here's a person I haven't heard from a while. Lyman. Hey, Lyman, are you coming to Buffalo in 2 weeks? But I know my experience as a commercial pilot. Oh, I didn't know you were a pilot. And a master scuba diver, which I knew that certificates are valid for life. That does not mean I am current. I always need to continue and train and improve my skills. Everyone needs to be current, Mr. Lyman. So in New York State, and this excellent, Lyman. If I don't see you in May, definitely, hopefully we'll see you at the Memorial Camp in August. So in New York State, because during this, like I said, there was a lot of people chiming in. And during the week, and one person said, well, a doctor does, as long as they keep doing surgery, they don't lose their stuff. Well, that's wrong. In New York State, if you're in the medical field, massage therapist, a CPA even, accountant, you need to do continuing education. You need to, and like to myself, okay, so Tim, what are you saying? Your teacher's dead. Remy Presas died. My Balintwalk instructor's dead. My there's a theme here. All my instructors die off after they train with me. Yep. If you keep training, and training's the big thing. Yep. So the thing is this, and I got sidetracked because I read too many of the comments. In my situation, what do I do about my modern Arnis? What do I do about my Combatant and my Balintwalk? Okay. Hey, Terrell, how you doing, sir? So, I don't have teachers anymore. Now, I do hang out with Bobby Tabuada when it comes to Balintwalk, although that is a completely different version of what I'm used to, because for those who grew up in the Bakan Buit lineage, we were doing the ungrouped methodology, so we're very scenario-based. Anchon didn't use the grouping methodology. That was an innovation that Jose Villasin came up with, and he should get the credit for that. So I've learned that, and I've hung around the Balintwalk people, and when I'm in the Philippines, I do... I've had the opportunity to hang out with Nick Elazar and Durango Maranga, and of course, Manang Bobby. Actually, I think we spent more time with Bobby in the Philippines than we do in the States. And I still do martial arts. I mean, when I'm doing my Kun Tao and my Sikran and other things, these help me look at different things. I'm constantly doing research. I'm constantly going forward. But let's say, the thing here is, let's say your teacher or the organization you're still a member of, to be active, you need to be interactive. So, there's people who studied with Remy, disappeared for years, and they kept training modern Arnis. But anybody, like Dr. G used to say, my Bono instructor would say to us, when we show him what he learned, you taught me that. He goes, no, that's what you think I taught you. That's not what I taught you. And we would correct stuff that we got wrong or remembered or blended with something else and all this other stuff. So I think it's important to have that interaction when you have those opportunities. Now, obviously, if the head of the system passes on, like a bunch of us, the modernist people, we've lost that connection. We don't have that mentor anymore. It's a whole nother animal. But, when your student disappears, what do you think? So let's have some people chime in on some things here. I'd like to get some feedback. We've had a couple people already chime in. I was wondering if you got a little more for me here. I definitely need to get a guest on this show so we can do some good stuff out there. No comments? Really? I was begging for fireballs coming at me. Someone trying to smite me down. I don't like the idea, because I have seen people do maintenance testing and stuff like that in other systems, which I won't name. And it's an opportunity to charge extra money, and I don't like this being utilized as that methodology. But I still think we need to keep our stuff constant and up and running, and to do that, we need to be interactive with people. I'm looking at I got multiple computers here, so I want to see what's going on the other, see if I missed any comments. No, most of them are popping up on the screen as well. So I guess if you make a comment coming in from YouTube, I won't see the name as much, although James, I got that. Yeah. All right. No comments? No comments. Is that it? Oh, here we go. Okay. I've not heard about Black Belt certifications needing to be renewed before you brought it up. If there's an awesome way to maintain accountability and training, if you don't like it, you don't do it. Yep. So, like I said, I don't think this should be... no problem, Jeff. Not a problem, although I think we had most of the stuff talked about already. Oh, Brock, here we go. Yay. Yes, and that's something, and I would agree with that. If there's separate certificates, I think that's better, So, this is a great one, If people, okay, so the whole thing, and you can don't worry about this, Jeff. This is downloading to my YouTube channel as we speak. So, so you'll be able to watch it later, and not have to go through Facebook. The problem with Facebook is that things disappear too fast. But I'm going to bring up, I've got 2 YouTube channels. I'm going to bring that up later just so I can point to where it's going to. Oh, there it is. It is there, yeah. And there's a picture. I've got my YouTube channel up over here, and they show Arnold. Arnold is showing off a big knife. Let me see, switch my account. So Remy had, here we go. Hit it. So, so a doctor's medical degree does not expire because they have earned it. That just those they have to train, earn their rank. But they do, like I said, if they do it, doctors, if you're in the medical field in New York State, if you're New York State certified in anything, you need to do continuing education. So, Remy had a good idea. I just don't think his execution was very It could have been better. Yeah, for my own organization, the instructor black belt should be separate from the and I think that would be the solution. Like I said, our diplomas, they have an expiration date. Okay, how often do you think recertification should take place? Okay, so good. Now let's get into this. And who knows, I may change. Go figure, guy. Anybody who works with me, I may change something. Go figure. The inside joke is I'm always changing the curriculum and programs and all this other stuff. So, and it's not changing, it's evolving. So, I could look at changing things, and do a separate certification for instructorship, which we really don't have at the moment. We pretty much just do a belt certification. So, once again, the black belt, you can't take away... Well, I don't... Okay, so let me get back to that one in a minute. What is if a disability hinders things? So, first of all, I think, what I might be looking at doing and talking to my guys, because I actually have an advisory board that we sit down and spitball some things and think about what's going on here. So... Currently, there is no with our group, there is no separation between instructorship and black belt. Coming at second degree black belt, you're officially considered a guru, although usually once you get your black belt, people start referring to you as guru. What might be a better fix is that the instructors, if we do a separate instructor certification, that has a time expiration date. Now would be the way. Now, I'll talk about disability hinders you, and you still train and teach. Well, I'll go one here. This one, I've never led a physical disability. I've got a person who's testing soon, who's a disabled vet. He's disabled because he was doing things for our country to make it safe for people like all of us here. I would never hold him back because he can't physically do something because of the sacrifices he made to protect me, my family, and my country. I know some people are very hard lines. Some people are very hard line on this. You need to pass the test a certain way. Personally, when I look at black belt testing, it's a journey, and it's about how much they've grown over that time. I've got some people that are amazing martial artists that I've had them wait longer to become black belts because it was too easy and they didn't put the same amount of effort as the people around them. I've got some people that you say, you gave that person a black belt. I go, no, that person earned a black belt. And if you saw where they started, you would see a whole nother things. But, if you can't do a kick with both legs because you hurt, then you just do this. I mean, Professor had the gout. He worked around it, but he couldn't do all the things that he wanted to do. And why should I hold someone back if they're giving it their all? It's not the military. There's the difference. Now, let me see here. How often do you think recertification should go? So if we do the diplomas as a separate thing from rank, which we're currently not doing, but who knows? Maybe because of this podcast, I will be redoing things. So, okay, let me see here. Let's do this here. What's Terrell say? I like the idea that the instructor should stay current with all the changes of the organization and not their certification should. And okay. So that's a good one. Like I said, we currently don't do an instructor's certificate right now. So that is why we've all and Remy always did it with the black belt, so we always just tied that together. And once again, when Professor gave out in the past, the reason why I'm not, why we didn't really look at this a lot is he really just gave out instructor certificates when you went to the first camp. I was a basic instructor as a blue belt. I was an advanced instructor as a brown belt. That was to get an apprenticeship program going in your area because the majority of the people that came through were already black belts in something else. So I was one of the very few people who did Modern Arnis as a standalone program, and I started in Filipino Martial Arts. So there you go. Separating black belt accomplishments from instructor accomplishments. There are many great athletes that wouldn't be great coaches, and many great coaches that were mediocre athletes. Exactly. Exactly. So, you know what? So Ty, who's part of our group, and Chad and Craig, when you see this, and Sam, I already know you're shaking your heads right now thinking, or if you haven't seen this yet, by the time you hear me say this, you're going to be like, oh, great, he's going to change and add something new. Now, like I said, but let's get back to it. You go away and stop training for years and you come back. What are you? I don't want to say nothing. You're someone who passed a black belt test in the past. Before you move forward, you need to catch up. And the other thing is, like, I know of some people who claim to be, okay, I know of people that, I was active. I'm like, well, why don't you know this material? You've been active so many, I haven't seen you in 5-6 years. How can you be active if you don't know this? Well, I've been training in my club. To be active, you need to be interactive. If we're talking an organization, if it's all about you, you're the guy, you're the whatever, then that's another story, I'm the head of my organization. I decide what the curriculum's going to be. I decide what other programs are. I am the king of my castle here. That being said, I still talk to my board. I want to get suggestions from them. I still continue training. I have a few private students I do stuff with to keep myself going. And when we get together, which I'm looking forward to next weekend at our spring camp, a couple of the black belt board members will be here, and it'll be the first time since COVID I'll be able to physically interact and do training with them, and I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. Unfortunately, we just don't know when Canada's going to open back up. I was talking to PG Jason Arnold today, just before this. He's going to be working, so he didn't have a chance to be in there, and I got to stop reading the comments while I'm talking. And, I made the comment to Jason, well, next May is the 65th anniversary camp. Oh, hopefully we'll be open by then. I can't believe a year from now that the Canadian border will still be shut down. By then, we'll be bailing you guys out with our leftover vaccine, whatever that happens to be. I think we're going to send up Bear. Of course, you guys got the codeine Tylenol you can buy right off the shelf, which really annoys the hell out of me. You got the good stuff. And yes, personal trainers have to do continuing education, so why not? So I guess really it depends on to what level we want to look at doing things. I mean, we've all had, if you're a teacher or you're in martial arts school, you've probably seen it. Guy disappears for 5-10 years because of school, comes back. And there's my stalker, Chris Davison, and yeah, you're my favorite stalker. If I don't say that, I'll cry. We run into, we have people who, you'll probably seen people in the club who've disappeared for years, came back later, and now they're starting back up again. And sometimes the beginners, the underclassmen, are actually helping the person getting back on the page, and which I've been very fortunate. Like when my people come back, we've really created a culture here that, no one gets twisted. We understand, it doesn't matter who started before you. If you're not current, you're not current. It's as simple as that. So you take some time off. You may miss some developments. It doesn't, and some people may have caught up that used to be your juniors and now they're on the same par as you. But we don't care because it's about your personal development. Okay, so I expected this to be a lot more charged than I was. Okay, Kevin Kennedy. Let's see what Kevin says here. I don't think any rank or style, though. I've received black belts in 3 styles. I don't believe the rank should expire. However, no rank should automatically be all martial arts skills that someone responsible should keep. Yep. Agree with you there. Like I said, I think I'm probably going to be looking at restructuring in our organization that we may do the renewal thing and make that more of a target testing date, and then do a separate certificate for teaching. We don't currently do that, but I think this is a great idea. And this is why I like talking to people, because I even learn from others and come up with better solutions for problems that we have. You know, like I said, a lot of times people tie it all into one big thing. Rank and instructor certifications kind of together. You know, if your organization doesn't separate the two, it's kind of all plumped in there, you know. So, okay. So, I want to talk about something coming up real quick. So, I'm pretty much done unless someone else chimes in. But I am going to look for something. And I want to share something. But you guys chime in and say something. You can talk behind my back. Well, in front of me, right on the screen here. Bum, 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 bum. Okay. Got it right here. Okay, so I am going to share a video. But, so I've been working on this. I'm going to share the video, then I want to talk about it really quickly. And then if anyone has anything else to say, and then we'll go from there. Share a video file. Oh, I've never done this before, so this is going to be interesting. I'm sharing a video file. I hope this works. Alright, so sharing the video file was not a good idea. Alright, I'm gonna... that didn't work anywhere near what it was supposed to. So, I'm gonna go back to Tim here. I'm gonna do it a different way. That really sucked. And I'm gonna blame this on my computer. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen here. So, I'm gonna take this, and I'm gonna remove that from the... okay. Hoo-ah. Hopefully this works better. Okay, so, no. As cool as that is, we're done with that. Okay, stop sharing. Okay, and I'm going to shut this down over here. So, for the last 6 years, PG Thai Botting has done the FMA Spring thing. Okay? So, it's basically just a fun gathering. Everyone gets together doing Filipino martial arts down in Virginia. It's a donation type thing, and everyone just, there's a cookout and all this other stuff. Well, I think they did virtual last year, and PG Thai, please, if you're listening, chime in. So, a good friend of ours through the martial art community, Roel Vera, was killed in a car accident during the COVID lockdown. He was visiting family in Arizona. A drunk driver hit the car, and he died, from what I understand, instantaneously. I didn't really pry into that. So this year, the Spring Fling, we're going to be doing it as a memorial and raising funds for the family. So in no particular order, just what I have here. So who will be teaching? PG Ty will be there. Myself, Angelo Garcia from Lightning Scientific, PG Chad, another one of the WMA board members, Lex Chrysostomos, Alex Ormaza, Eric Harris, Mosey Jack, Jeff Ramsey. This is all to benefit Roel Vera. It's going to be in on June 12th, which is a Saturday. It's in Van Dyke Park, Fairfax, Virginia, from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. It is at one of the Lower Pavilion Shelter, if I'm not mistaken. We are going to be doing some kind of donation. I've donated, in addition to being, donating my time, I'm also donating the Modern Arnis University series, the full series. So that's a $300 value. Some way we're going to be doing some kind of raffle or something else, because there might be some legal implications, but everyone gets a chance of, everyone can put in for that, and then the proceeds of that goes to the family. We just, as of yesterday, I was talking to Tuhan Jack Latour. So we've been talking about doing a joint Zoom class for quite some time now. And he buzzed me yesterday and said, hey, let's do it. Okay, I'm like, all right. So my comment to him was that whatever's going on, okay, here we go. Boom, boom, boom. Thanks for supporting this good cause. Yep, Lower Pavilion Shelter in the case of weather, all are welcome. So that's a fun time. That's a really fun time. So reach out to PG Chad, see what you can make happen there. So now let's talk about now on. I'm just getting set up right now. Okay, so on it just takes me a moment. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of this. I'll get rid of this temporarily. Banner, get rid of that, hide that. Okay, and I have to go back to this temporarily. Get rid of this comment. All right, now, on July 24th, we'll have to double check the times. On July 24th, I think the time is off on that, but on July 24th, Tuhan Jack Latour and myself will be doing a joint seminar together. We're going to be doing 3 hours. It's $40. My portion of the proceeds I am donating to the Vera family as well. So if anyone can come, this is going to be a virtual seminar. So like I said, I'm not going to speak for Tuhan Jack. I don't know what his plans, because I know he's done some fundraising stuff in the past, but my portion is going to the family. So any support would be appreciated there. I'm not sure if that's going to be the time. Actually, I know that can't be the time because I'm teaching classes at that time. So we'll see what goes on from there. I'm going to do it as a hybrid seminar on my end. So if anyone is in the Buffalo area that wants to participate, what a hybrid seminar is, I teach physically. I have a physical class going on with virtual attendees. So anyone who wants to participate, you don't want to do a Zoom training, but you're in the Buffalo area, come to the school. And you can attend that way, and then you'll get to see Tuhan Jack. He'll be doing it virtually, but you get to do my session. I'm going to be doing. I think he's going to do double stick. I'm going to be doing open hand applications of the stick work. So, but I'm going to talk to Jack about that because I'm gonna type it in right now that I teach till June. I'll just do that right here while I'm talking to you guys. Teach till noon. I was thinking 12 to 3. And none of that went in. Man, I suck. Okay. I'm going to have to call you back. I'll just turn that off. Okay, and Mr. Latour is responding to me directly. So let's get back into this. So yes, make sure you go to the lower pavilion and do this. Do you do testing for Arnis University curriculum? Yes, I do. Limited. Okay, and Jack said he'll fix that too on Jack. Yeah, I said I'm going to talk to him and go, we're chatting. Okay. Of course, I can't type for shit. All right. Yeah, I do. Although Black Belt certification definitely needs to be done in person. But I do have long distance students who've been testing with me the best they can. I mean, there's certain things I need to do that hands-on thing. I can't do it all virtual. But we can get our apprenticeship program going and stuff like that as well. You know, we have associate instructors where they're okay to start training groups and get things going. But when it comes to Black Belt, that has to be done hands-on. Okay, so, yeah, Jack was able to decipher what I was saying. That's funny. Because I can't. I'm reading it now. I can't decipher what it is. Okay. All right. So he just told me he's going to fix that. So that day it'll be from noon to 3, July 24th. So that'll be a follow-up benefit as well. Okay. So my board members, we have a big discussion. We have to work on talking about separating testing certification from ranking and possibly revamping the structure where the belt is the belt and the date is maybe testing eligibility and going from there, which is more or less what we used it for anyways. Like I said, when someone, I've never stripped anyone of their... We've revoked a black belt, but that was a probationary black belt, and that's another story. Professor Presas once gave me the permission to do that with someone. I chose not to do it. There was someone that he revoked that I was the person who delivered the letter. And we can talk about that another time, maybe. Let me see how much... Yeah, we can talk about that another time. Screw it. We'll talk about it now. Real simple. So with the belts... There was probationary period on the certificates, you know, and if you were a probationary black belt, that meant you came up short, or he didn't trust you, one of the two. You improved, and we still need a little more out of it. So this protocol was established with somebody else in Buffalo. I was young at the time, so this was 93-ish, you know, give or take. So one of the older, not senior, but one of the older black belts had a hard-on for somebody. I didn't know what the personal thing was, and actually wanted to get someone's belt revoked, and they went with the probationary period. I didn't know that portion of things. All I knew was the that there was a probationary period and the person never fulfilled their obligation to get that removed. So you didn't do this, so the belt went away. That's how I was exposed to it. So from there was one of the local black belts, was a probationary black belt. Started wearing a black belt, which you really shouldn't because it should have been the 3rd degree brown. Walked around with all of the authority of a full-blown black belt. So a couple of us were talking about it, and I went to Professor based on the conversation we were having. And the belt had already expired. The expiration period was over and done with. So what we did was sent a letter, gave him an extension saying, listen, by this time you need to do what you need to do or it's going to be revoked. In the meantime, the person got all upset about that, got certification from somebody else, and then said, I'm done. I don't care. All right. But then later decided to get all punky and stuff and write books about it and complain about it. Well, you guys did this to me. You guys did that to me. No. I mean, and the way I looked at it is if the situation was reversed, I would have said, well, if I had a probationary period and the time was coming up and for whatever reason I didn't go before that time and I was given an ultimatum, like, well, if it's important to me, I'm going to test and go for it. It wouldn't matter who did what, because at the end of the day, if that's the protocol, that's the protocol. And this was established earlier with somebody else. And of course, the person said, well, it doesn't matter, I'm a certified instructor. That's where the expiration date should have been. Of course, it was on the belt, and, well, there you go. So, but ultimately, when the person talked about it, I thought his argument didn't hold weight because he kept whining about what we did, but it's really about what he didn't do. He was given an opportunity to clear up his belt status. He chose not to and cried foul when the belt was there. So, I mean, revoking a probationary rank is different than your expiration date of a full rank, I guess. And now the other thing, I'm going to definitely look at this and saying, well, as I've always said, being a black belt and being current are two different things. Being a modern, as a modern Arnis practitioner, the art was an ever-growing art. If you took time off, you would miss huge portions of the art and of its development. That's why Professor was around. And I've actually, unfortunately, I've continued that. Modern art, or the Art Presas blend, is not a static system. It's an ever-growing system. I come up with new ways to teach old material. And I've come up with different applications, and sometimes that's because of development of my own, others because I've worked with other people in other arts, and I say, hey, and it inspired me to do something different. I'm like, that's the same thing we do. Or I like that explanation a lot better. Like in modern Arnis, as an example, if you do the follow-through angles of attack, if it comes from your right foot's in front. If it comes from your left foot's in front. And it was never told, because the problem is Professor's English was his third or fourth language. It wasn't his primary. And none of us really spoke Tagalog, so there was definitely a communication problem there. And, I looked at it and said, okay, from a Western point of view, this is a better body mechanics and all this other stuff. But I was hanging out with Dr. G, my Bono instructor, and all of a sudden he goes, well, Tim, why do we step this way? And I told him, these are better body mechanics. He goes, you're right, but it's for safety. I'm like, what do you mean? It's to clear the path of the weapon to travel. So if I swing all the way down to the ground, the follow-through strikes, hitting through, high to low, if it comes from my right foot's in front, it's a safer path. If I have my opposite foot in front, now there's a chance I'm going to hit myself. Now, I always tell my students, there's always an exception for everything. So if you are carrying a sidearm, you always keep your weapon side away from your opponent because you don't want to give them access to it. So in that case, you couldn't do proper footwork because if I did the proper footwork, there's a good chance I would expose my weapon systems to my opponent. So, but as a guideline, as a rule of movement that a professor taught, I thought this was a much better way of explaining the rule or the movement that professor had for us because he didn't have the articulation. Now, Dr. G was a college professor, so I've learned a lot from other things. Once again, continuing my education helps my base art. So I hope everyone enjoyed today's post. I am at my school right now. It's 5 to noon. I know Mr. Lyman is talking about calling me later, so I'll be here. I'm doing some cleaning and prep work for the next 2 weeks, because next weekend, not this weekend, the weekend of the 14th, is our camp. So I still have room. New York State has just increased the occupancy rate, so we're up to 50%. So I can have 53 people in the room, including staff. So that's good that has opened up. But right here, May 14th through 16th, it's a hybrid camp. So if people want to go, if you sign in here, let me see here, tickets. If you sign on to the tickets, am I using the right mouse? I am using the right mouse. Okay. I'm just looking at it on the wrong screen. Oh, you know what? I don't have the current stuff. I'm going to have to change that. That was a bad one on me. It didn't expire, and I've had people been signing up to what? Do I have the wrong website? I'll have to update that. So, what happened? My mojo didn't work right. What happened there? I will have to go in there and see this, but I will have that ticket thing worked out later today. If you go to Datu, so optional. If you go to Datu Hartman, that one's always right. It better be. I'm putting this. What is hybrid? Okay, yeah. So let me go to this event. I'll make sure this. I'm in the process of updating all the websites, and it's been a real pain in the butt. Really busting my chops. I've learned program or how to use Divi very good, which is a thing on WordPress. So, okay, so I don't have much listed here. It's the 4th. Okay, so we go here, we click on this, and it brings up the camp information. Yay! So I have to check the URL. So there is we go 9 o'clock on Friday the 14th. It's probably going to be like 9 to 9 on Friday, probably 9 to 6 on Saturday, and then 9 to noon or 1 or whatever on Sunday. The camp is $250. There's a pre-conference workout on Thursday for an extra $50. We also do a one-day rate of $100. This is hybrid. So as we talked about before, hybrid, as it was brought up by Dexter, because I just answered his question, hybrid is a really something that I started pushing. And so if you do our training, I have physical and hybrid training programs. So I have students that come in physically with this all the time, but I have long-distance students that are logging into my regular classes. So, and my seminars do the same thing, which really works out great because it gives me the time to give people the reps they need. If it's just me teaching, you might not have enough reps. Plus, you can't see people practicing and taking other notes. Now you are in the class with me. You could raise your hand. You can ask a question. If you're attending the camp physically or virtually, you will be getting a copy of the classes you participate in. If you pay for the whole camp and you can't make all the classes, there'll be a digital copy of that. Okay, and I will fix that on the World Modern Arnis Alliance website. It is live and active the way it's supposed to be on the Datu Hartman. So, I hope everyone enjoyed this. This Saturday is how to host a tournament. Next week is the special time for our, I'm looking at my other calendar. I've got 4 computer screens here. So, next week, Datu's Corner will be on at a special time because we will be doing the what will we be doing? We will be doing the whatever I said we were doing. I think that's the one that we're talking about. The isn't that the I'm having a moment. I'm trying to think. That's the Americanized Arnis, if I'm not mistaken. I just want to pull this up because I hate speaking and then being wrong. I do it a lot, but if I can prevent it, it just works so much better here. Let me hear. I'm just going to my thumbnails, Datu's Corner, May. All right, once again, I'll just pull this up here so we can see it one last time because I'm getting better at the technology and I want to share. Okay. So there we go. May 10th, that'll be at 1 o'clock. Americanized Arnis. Is it better than the original Filipino version? And then the week after that, which will be the last Datu's Corner for May, will be May 17th. Training in the Philippines is training necessity or a waste of time and money. Just FYI, before people start putting in on this one, I've gone to the Philippines 7 times. I'm planning on continuing to go to the Philippines, but there's some unrealistic expectations that we'll go over, and we'll call it that. So I hope everyone had a good time. Thanks for tuning in. I hope people didn't get twisted in this whole thing. And as always, thanks. So this is Datu Hartman signing out. Thanks for tuning in. Everybody, please stay safe and stay sane out there. And I'm looking forward to seeing everyone soon. So